There once lived a mighty king who ruled all the world. King Obatala was thought to be a wise and noble ruler by all of his subjects. He ruled for decades with fair laws and a gentle hand. By his side, he had a faithful companion, a faithful helper, a young helper named Orula, who did his bidding without question. Obatala grew older and older, and as he got up in years, he grew weary of being the king of the world. His thoughts immediately turned to Orula as a successor. He trusted his judgment, and his actions were so amazing, and they were far, far away and up above his young years. But was Orula old enough to rule the world? King Obatala thought it wise to test the young helper. His test was subtle and clever. One afternoon, he announced that the most fabulous food be made for his dinner that evening. Orula went to the market, and he waited in line at the spice table. And as he looked it over, he heard the customer before him praise the variety and the freshness of the vendor's merchandise. He then moved on to the butcher, and he looked over the choicest pieces of meat. His eyes stopped at an ox tongue. He smiled as he made his purchase. Now for dinner that evening, he used the freshest herbs and spices that he had purchased in the market. And then he slow cooked that meat so it could marry and marinate in its own juices. Dinner was announced, and it was set before the king. King Obatala savored each and every bite of that ox tongue and agreed that it was the most amazing meal that could have been made. But he asked Orula, in all of his wisdom, why did he choose an ox tongue to be the most amazing meal? Honored Obatala, what could be more important than the tongue? For with it, one can teach virtue and manners. One can proclaim good works and speak of great matters. With it, one can praise men who are deserving. Obatala was awed and amazed by his answer, but felt that one more test was necessary. So a few days later, he asked of his young helper to devise the worst meal he could think possible. Orula went back to the butcher, and again he looked up and down at the selection of the choice cuts of meat. And as he was thinking of his selection, he overheard the butcher, and a customer, gossiping and complaining about the local residents. He paused, and he thought, and he purchased another ox tongue. That evening, he used the same spices, the same herbs, cooked it the exact same way, allowing it to marry with the juices by letting it cook so slow. He announced dinner. The king sat down and noticed there was another ox tongue put before him. He was curious and extremely surprised. "O ruler, how can it be that the best meal is also the worst?" "King Obatala, I have already told you how the tongue can be the best, but it can also be the worst. For with it, one can be slandered. A person's great reputation can be destroyed. Whole nations can be ruined and sold. And that is why I cooked you the same meal a second time." King Obatala was in awe with his answer. He was amazed how wise and mature it was, and at that moment declared him ruler of the world. Thank you.